Hi friends, it's me Vivian. I'm here with Jimmy Choo. Stella is over there. They're my geriatric dogs. They're 16. And I've got George here. I don't know that you can see him. George is my rescue. We think that he's about 7. He's bordering adulthood, becoming a senior. This short video is on the subject of body language, and particularly our body language. So I'd like us to be mindful of our body language, and this is going to come into play when we are engaging with our dogs or a strange dog, when we are gearing up our dogs using a harness, and simply it's also going to help out when we're trying to communicate that something is unwanted, an unwanted behavior. This information has been gleaned and collected over many years by ethologists who have studied observing animals, particularly canids, in the wild, as well as those that are living in our homes. So the gestures, the body postures and communicative gestures are the same. So generally speaking, we don't want to stare at a dog or lean over a dog because that can be threatening to the dog, right? We often see that the dog will cower or hide, so we want to be careful. If your dog doesn't cower, they may just feel internal stress. And again, our job and our objective is to help our dogs feel as little distress as possible. So our posturing, even though we don't mean it to communicate something threatening, it is threatening to them. Remember, they're different species. They perceive the world differently. While we're trying to communicate something to them. So our body language communicates a lot. So if a dog is feeling threatened or nervous, turn to the side, turn your head away, wait for the dog to approach you. And in that case, even if a fearful dog approaches you, what I would do is throw food away from me. So the dog chooses to go after the food and then makes a choice to approach me again if they wish to do so. And that is the first steps in working towards a bond or even a trusting relationship. We throw the food away and then the dog chooses to come back to us. This would be a fearful dog. Okay, so for body posturing, even for young dogs, any dog, leaning over them, not something that we want to do. We want to either come down, certainly turn to the side. So when we are, where did I put my harness? Here it is. So when this is going to come into play a little bit later, putting a harness on our dog, gearing up our dog. There is a tutorial that goes over this. But again, we want it to be as least threatening, I can't speak today, least threatening as possible. So we're not leaning over the dog, we are just using some food and threading the harness over. And again, you see my body posture is down, I can be on the side, depending on the dog, how the dog feels. These dogs, we've been living together for many years, so we have a trusting relationship, okay? Your dog, no matter if it's a puppy that you have acquired through a breeder or a rescue, it still has a learning history of some sort. An older dog has a longer learning history, so you don't know that history if you've rescued an older dog, okay? So just make sure that you are helping them feel safe and that you're safe as well and you're communicating the right things. And that is, again, turning to the side and allowing the dog to approach you. We'll be going over some of these skills together. This is going to be really important as well for the module on preparing for lesson 2 and the behavior baseline diagnostic. I do want you to go over the body language so that you're picking up on their communicative gestures and reflexes, any affiliative or fearful behaviors, and you're noting those. Good boy. And I also want you to be aware of your body posture. When we are working on body mechanics, there are a couple universal cues that we teach our dogs. Before we teach them words, we're going to be teaching them using luring. And I just want you to be aware of these. A sit is palm up. A down is palm, come here George, palm down. We will be using wait and stay is, I like to use it a palm out to the side versus this way, because from their perspective this looks like a DOWN. So again, sit, down, wait or stay. We'll be using targeting is 2 fingers. We will be using a drop it, and I think that's it. So that's going to come later. I know you want some. That's going to come a little bit later when we're working on body mechanics. I just wanted to go over them really briefly. More important for this lesson, this little presentation is our posturing and our communicative gestures. And we know from thousands of years for dogs living with us that they have learned to pay attention to our eyes and what we're looking at, and our gestures, our hand gestures, okay? And there's been tons of studies on different species, and the dog, because they've lived with us, have learned to communicate with us, have learned the meaning of some of these gestures, and particularly our hand movements and our eye movements. And we're going to be using our hands and our eyes in our training. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I can't wait to meet you. Bye.